Folks, I'm going to tell y'all what. This is what I call a blast from the past. It is the old days. The video that you're fixing to look at right now, this is the way we did it in the old days. There ain't no fancy stuff. This is my old camouflage, my old turkey calls, my old knowledge, the whole 9 yards. But I'll bet you will pick some things up. There are a few people that I have to thank for this. Going back to those old days, Mr. Banks Norman, Mr. Ransom Jones, Kenneth Flint, and Mr. Phil DeFatta. And you'll see 3 of the 4 at some point in time in some of these videos. And there are a ton of other people, and I do mean a ton of other people, or I never would have ever been able to have taken the 2x4, the Double Grand Slam of the American Wild Turkey. Here is me over 30 years ago.
The preacher man says it's the end of time, and the Mississippi River, she's a gold dry. The interest is up and the stock market's down, and you're only getting mugged if you go downtown. I live back in the woods, you see, a woman and the kids and the dogs and me. I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I can plow a field all day long. I can catch catfish from dusk till dawn. Make our own whiskey and our own smoke too, and too many things these old boys can't do. We grow good old tomatoes and homemade wine, and country boy can survive. Country folks can survive.
Friends, we're going to show you what I believe to be some of the finest turkey hunting footage ever captured on film. No setups, no stage shots, no tamed turkeys, just raw turkey hunting footage at its best. Each kill was captured on not one, but 2 3/4-inch television quality cameras to put you right in the middle of the action, right up against the tree with Preston, almost like you were the one doing the shooting. Hello, I'm Phil DeFatta, and as an outdoor writer and photographer, I, along with our chief cameraman, Ken Flint, feel very fortunate to have played at least a small role in the success of Preston Pittman's Grand Slam turkey hunt and the resulting video. I've hunted with a lot of the turkey greats in my day, but I'd have to rank my old hunting partner, Preston, here right up there at the top. In fact, he's taken more national calling titles than any man alive. He's a 3-time world champion, 6-time national champion, an 8-time national king of champion, and the U.S. Open Gobbling champion, in addition to numerous state, local, and regional titles that would take me too long to mention, even if I could remember them all. But Preston, I believe before we pat ourselves on the back too much, we should give credit to the many fine sportsmen and landowners across this country that really made this video, the hunt itself, a success, because without their help, it would have been next to impossible to get the footage that we got. Don't you think?
Phil, I couldn't agree with you more. People, y'all just don't realize how much and how well all the many people out there throughout the country went way out of their way to help us with the success of this video. And from Ken, from Phil, and from myself, I send you all a very hearty thanks. And I tell you, a lot of people might be wondering whenever they pick this video up what the 2x4 stands for on the front cover. We're fortunate enough to have 4 subspecies of the wild turkey scattered throughout the United States, them being the Osceola, the Eastern, the Rio Grande, and the Merriam. And the good Lord above smiled on us enough that we were lucky enough to actually harvest 2 of each of these subspecies. And I think before we sit here and ratchet y'all any longer, we ought to just go ahead and go to Odessa, Florida, and let's take them after the first turkey.
I told them I thought we had some of the finest footage on film. Let's show them.
Let's go get Chester.
That's right, and we hope you enjoy it.
As you can see, being well camouflaged and keeping movement down to a bare minimum plays a very important part to turkey hunting. Try to find the cameraman. As you've seen, there are three primary locating calls used while you're turkey hunting, them being the owl, the hawk, and the crow. All these sounds can be reproduced by one of our locator calls. One of the added benefits of being in the woods during the springtime is you get to enjoy all different types of wildlife. But sometimes, scenes like this, like the white-tailed deer, can give you problems whenever they spook, because they could also spook your bird. So always be careful to be aware of your windage too if you know there's a lot of different types of wildlife in the woods. The first two birds that show up this morning were a couple of Osceola hens, and we got to enjoy some beautiful clucking and purring, which is very, very hard to hear unless you're at close range to the hens. Now, try as we might, we could not get Chester to come on out. He showed up about 15 minutes later, or about 15 minutes after the hens came in, and we tried working him, but he never would come up underneath this fence. In fact, he probably got behind camera position number 1 and stayed there for at least 20 minutes just strutting and drumming. Our problem with Chester was he always had hens with him. But by hanging there with him and repositioning ourselves, about 2 hours later we got back on him. And by that time, all the hens that he had with him first thing that morning had already left him. And the reason why we call this bird Chester is because he had a broke toe that stuck straight up, and some of the locals had named him that.
Phil, Chester's a tough bird.
Believe that.
I tell you, according to Fred, one of our hosts out there, I believe they said they'd been messing with him for, what, 4 years?
4 years.
You know, and that being our first bird, we kind of got tied down there 2 or 3 different times, you know, not really being able to work together with each other or not have worked with each other before. I think we did a pretty good job, but as time went on, we only got better and better.
Yeah. Oh, and getting back to that 4 years, there was supposedly some big football player, huge guy, so we killed his bird, but we don't want to tell what that was. But that bird, that almost gave me a heart attack. You know, you remember he hung up and strutted and droned about 15 feet from the maximum at the end of my little palmetto blind there. And my camera was running and running and running. I couldn't, you know how it is when you get a turkey on top of you, handcuffed and you can't move. I ran my battery down, at least my viewfinder showed me that my battery was dead. So when finally the turkey decided, you gave him something, I don't know what it was, to get him out of this strut by me. I mean, I was a nervous wreck. I was sweating all down in my camera, about to die. Because I couldn't move. I was just frozen, just like this, you know. And all I could move was my eyes to try to see where he was. But you did something to move him. I don't remember.
I changed calls on him.
Oh, you did?
I changed calls. I've been using kind of a clearer type sound because that's what I've been hearing was his yapping more of a clearer type sound. I changed it a little bit raspier sound, went to a Champion Choice collar. I tell you, it's kind of hard for the viewers out there to see what happened, so why don't we go back and look at the slow-mo, and if y'all pay real close attention in the right-hand side, you can see his head go back through the little opening from the impact of the shot. If y'all look right about now in that little opening in between the palmettos, you can see his head going through. Now the camera moves over to the left, the little circle's fixing to come up. Watching the circle in the very far right-hand side of the screen, and you can see his head go back through the opening. No more Chester. He has been immortalized now. Well, Phil, I wish we could have been on the bird a little bit better, but that's turkey hunting. That's the way it goes. I know Ken was expecting the bird to come to the left-hand side of the screen, but when he got right there behind that palmetto, I just couldn't wait any longer. Knowing his body language and everything, he was fixing to leave.
That's turkey hunting. And how many times have you ever seen a turkey do what you expected him to do as a hunter or the cameraman? It's double tough on us old cameramen.
That's true.
It was really tough, but we got old Chester. But we can't forget old Fred Hall, big Fred Hall, our gracious host, and his lovely family, and little Fred Maxtad. That's two of the folks we mentioned at the top of the show here that we couldn't have done without the success of this hunt.
They really went out of their way to help us in every way they possibly could, even fed us one night, too.
Oh, yeah, I waddled away from the table.
Yeah, we both did. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we take a look at Chester and his immortalized state, and then we'll go straight from that into the second hunt. Cameraman did a beautiful job in the second hunt, and this is where
he messed up.
This is where I messed up this time.
You'll see him get to mess up on this one. You ready to go to it?
Let's do it.
We grow good old tomatoes and homemade wine, and country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run. Those Muslim old boys raised on shotguns. We say grace and we say ma'am. If you ain't into that, we don't give a damn.
A lot of people ask the question, when should one change calls? This is a perfect example of when you should. The bird is responding very well to crows, to owls, but whenever I hit him with some super raspy calling, he did not respond well that good. So I changed calls on him, went with a little bit clearer sound, and he responded a lot better to it. Well, Phil, I thought we had him there right off the bat, but it ended up being a bunch of wild hogs coming in, didn't it?
Yeah, and he seemed like he was headed our way right at first, but he must have found some hens along
Yeah,
the
he
way.
did. I heard some hens out there yelping. But that's where persistence and patience really pay off, because we ended up staying there, what, a good 3.5 hours
Good
waiting
3
on it.
hours, because we had roosted the bird the evening before, and we knew from scouting and Little Fred and Big Fred that it was a strut site.
That's right. So we hung in there with him, and it paid off.
But those hogs, you had to scare them off.
Yeah.
Thought maybe that was going to mess up our turkey came in, but you did that just right.
Well, you know, I do that a lot of times on a lot of different game. Just always make sure that their head's pointing in the right direction. They're not going to be running back towards the game that you're hunting, and go ahead and spook them.
Right.
Why don't we go ahead and go on back to the hunting and finish this one up, and then we'll be on to Mississippi.
That'd be right.
We got him. We got him.
As you can see in this slow-mo, the bird was hit solid in the head with the first shot, but the pattern never had time to open up. He was also hit with the second shot, and I'm still amazed at the bird, how he was able to pick up the fly. Just about the time he started gaining a little bit of altitude right here, he died in midair.
Phil, I know y'all kept screaming at me, shoot, 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 but you see this little antenna right here?
Yeah,
This little antenna right there has got a hook in it.
I know mine got hung up when I
Yeah.
tried to take my net off to get you when the bird was taking
Yeah.
off down through
Yeah.
there. I shot blue sky, tops of trees, everything out of that camera.
Well,
Yeah.
when I shot, I had my gun up like this, and I was trying to ease my head over, and I couldn't get my head any further, and I'm tugging, and I knew the bird was, what, 10 feet from me?
That's when you need a 28-inch modified.
What was he, 10 feet, something like
I
that?
couldn't tell. I was so nervous. I just wanted him to hit the ground.
Well, he hit the ground, but what we did, he was so doggone close to widen, the pattern didn't have time to open on up, so we clipped the edge of his head, and I did something I don't like to do. I shot him in the strut, but he was so close I figured I'd blow his head off.
Well, I know Ken and I kept hollering to shoot
Yeah.
because my little fanny was getting sore. Been sitting on that stool. He was a tough one to get in here.
How long have we been here now?
I've been sitting on that stool, I think, about 3 hours.
About 3 hours been working the bird. Well, he was roosted back here in the old river swamp, and there was 2 more birds in there, and we had a couple of hens come in. Thank God we didn't spook them. They kind of hung around, and the bird obviously was breeding some hens out there and worked on around, come in behind us,
He was
circle
looking
back
for you.
out here, and then come back.
He was looking for you, though, when he
Oh,
came
yeah,
in.
he
There
was
was no
looking.
doubt about that. He was looking for you.
Oh yeah, whenever he showered down, but
I wish I'd have.
he's a good bird. He's got a good, inch and 1/8 probably spurs, an inch on this one, inch and 1/8 over here,
10 inches on the beard.
about 10 inches on the beard.
Well, I tell you, turkey hunting's tough, but filming is right amongst it.
You know, people don't realize just what it takes to go out with 2 cameras like this. And what we're looking at, probably 80, 85 pounds of equipment apiece.
Well, I weighed mine at about 75, and that's before Ken Flynn added about 20 pounds worth of batteries and stuff.
Yeah, he's good at that loading us down,
Oh,
ain't he?
man.
I tell you. Well, I tell you what, I'm proud of both of y'all
Son, I appreciate
very
it.
much. And Mr. Ken back over there behind the camera, y'all done good too. Y'all people just don't know out there just what type of nerves it takes to be able to sit there and have a bird working that close and 2 cameras going. And tell you what, when you get 2 good cameramen behind you, that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Well, tell him how what you had to do, since we know he had hens with him. He was gobbling his head off before daylight at everything you threw at him.
Well, what he was responding to good this morning was cutting. I was using the Champion Choice. I started out with Exciter call. Now it's over in the blind. Well, wait, yeah, dude.
Anyway, keep talking. Tell me about it.
I was using the Exciter to start off with this morning. This is necessity paper here. Now, I must have dropped it somewhere.
Yeah.
And he didn't really like that sound.
Yeah.
So I changed over to a Champion Choice and boy, he just showered right down on top of it. And I heard some hens flying down. I heard some hens chirping out there. So I figured it's going to take a little while.
Yeah, you told us over the remote here that settle in. But you mean, I realize that some folks, that may be new to turkey hunting, just because you're real good on one particular yelper doesn't mean that that's what the bird wants to hear. In other words,
That's
what you're
right.
saying
We
is
changed
change
up.
tones on him.
We changed up, found what he liked.
Yeah.
I knew he was liking cutting, so we just gave him a little while, let him breed the hens.
Yeah.
Let the hens come on around and hit him again with cutting, and bingo, here he comes.
Yeah, he did. Now, he was looking for you, I'll tell you.
Well, we got it.
Did a super job.
Appreciate it, man.
This is round 1 on the Grand Slam.
Round 1, second bird.
We're going to nail him. Round 1, second bird. This is a fine bird.
Well, let's go back home and get it Easter now.
Right on.
Let's go, man.
Now let's take a look at our second bird that we harvested in Odessa, Florida. He did not have a name, but we entitled him the Courtship Dance. Now we'll get into the reason why we entitled him the Courtship Dance a little bit further in the Eastern hunt. I tell you, I'd like to take this opportunity also to give a very big hearty thanks to Mr. Tab Hinton of Nature's Images in Lucedale, Mississippi for doing a really fantastic job on all of our mounts, but especially this particular bird here.
Particularly that bird, Preston. He had lost a lot of breast feathers on his dive bomb there after he went down. We had a tough time putting him down, but I'm sure it was equally as tough getting him put back together.
It had been probably a lot harder.
Yeah, right.
Well, now it's on to Mississippi. Home turf
Back
birds.
on to Mississippi.
That's right.
At least we know a little bit about the terrain.
That's right. Back to our birds. I tell you what, too, we got to say thanks to John and Barbara Winstead.
Definitely. Good friends of ours. They helped procure the land that we hunted on, and not only do they do that, they've got a camera center there in Hattiesburg, Stewart's Camera Center,
Yes,
that
sir.
developed my stills for newspaper, magazine work and such as that in a hurry, and just beautiful quality. You couldn't ask for any
Fantastic
better
quality.
folks, I'll tell you.
I guarantee you.
But I'm ready to get on to Mississippi.
Let's go. In fact, I think our first bird's going to be the rain bird.
Don't even answer him, Brent. He let that bird may fly down right over your head. Just don't make a sound.
We had only heard one bird respond to our owl hoot the first thing that morning. But as it started breaking daylight, lo and behold, two good birds showed up. And we were fortunate enough to capture this fighting footage on film. I was beginning to think that the boss gobbler was going to run the secondary gobbler clean out of the county. But when he turned and started coming back our way, I knew it was time to get ready.
after seeing the number of hens that were in the field, I knew I had my work cut out for me. And work I did. Finally, after about 45 minutes, here he and his whole harem came. Well, folks, that's what we call educating turkeys. And if you turkey hunt long enough, it's going to happen to you. At precisely the moment that I squeezed the trigger on that bird, he ducked his head. Now, this is the same turkey, but the next day. We roosted in that afternoon, but he had moved to the field adjacent to the one where we shot him at. And over the next several minutes, we're going to give you a blow-by-blow description as to what happens. What's going on right here is in the very beginning, had started yelping to him, a little bit strong, but he really did not want to respond to it. So what I did is I turned my attention to the hens and started mostly just very soft calling, clucking, purring, and soft yelping. He's a sharp bird. See, we're getting his attention from time to time, but he's not coming. Not yet. He's getting pumped up a little bit better now, and the actual time that has gone by from the time we started on to the time we actually harvested the bird was about an hour and 45 minutes. got the hens' attention real good, and they're heading our way.
We worked for this bird.
That one was hard fought for.
I tell you what, birds I thought in Florida were tough, but I told you, our own home birds right here in Mississippi is gonna be our toughest bird.
I'll tell you what, I don't remember ever waiting on anything that long and hurting as bad.
And as y'all can see, it's pouring down raining. So when the question arises, what do the birds do in bad weather? In the state of Mississippi, they come to these fields.
I heard
That's all
that.
they are to it.
I heard that.
So you can hunt in foul weather. How about an inch spurs on him? Look at there.
Yeah, he's got beautiful spurs, sharp as a razor too.
About a 10-inch beard on him.
Thick beard too.
Yeah, he's just been wet right now.
Gonna make a beautiful mount.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You
All right,
guarantee.
well,
Good
this
deal.
is an eastern bird. Got the Osceola behind us.
Got the Osceola.
2 to go.
2 to go.
Let's go get it.
Let's go get another one. Go get the truck, boy.
Well, Phil, let's take a look at the rainbird. I believe his title was what, Boss Strut?
That's correct.
And let's see what he looks like in his immortalized state. I tell you what, I got to say, thanks to Mr. Brent Wallace about this time, too, because I believe you were in Oklahoma hunting.
Yeah, I was out there hunting with my old buddy Jerry Hill in Antlers.
Yeah, he kind of filled in for you, and in fact, if it hadn't been for him, we wouldn't have got the fighting sequence of the birds out in the field. And I really don't think he even realized what he was filming.
I don't know about that, but he did get that. I understand he got that. Y'all were obscured from the fighting turkey.
Right,
and he,
sure were.
he was filming turkey and did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
And I
he did.
appreciate him taking over for me, or wouldn't have been able to get out there and shoot one myself.
Well, I tell you what, we got our second Eastern now, and what do we name him, Comaney?
Cole Maney.
That was
bad
7
dude.
days we
7
messed
days.
with that
We
bird.
set up on that bird 7 days, and he was kind of like the rainbird. He
Yeah.
a field bird. He didn't want to come in. I don't have any knowledge of him ever being shot at, but he was smart.
He was real
We
smart.
thought he was about a 12-year-old bird, but I don't last that long. But we finally got him in it.
We finally got him.
Let's take a look at that.
Let's see what happens. On our first day with Comaney, he responded super good to the owl hoots. And, boy, we really thought we had him coming in good. Hens came in the field first before him, and obviously one of them, picked us out and spooked, and that was the end of that day.
If you're noticing the noise in the background, there was a paper mill in the area. And almost every day that we hunted them, they were releasing steam. On our second day with Khomeini, we finally got a good look at him. Now, from this point on, we always knew it was Khomeini by the broken fan feather in the back, as you can see right now. And try as we might, we couldn't do a thing in the world with him. He had his whole harem with him. We thought all the turkeys were already in the field, and all of a sudden here come this bunch of jakes and hens in. Even though we didn't get to harvest a bird on this day, we did get to witness a very rare sight. We have called it the courtship dance. And as is apt to happen, anytime you get a bunch of boys and girls together, there might be a dance.
Here's my story, it's sad but true. It's about a girl that I once knew. She took my love, then ran around with every single guy in town. Hey, hey, whoa, hey, whoa, hey, whoa. Keep away from a runaround Sue, yeah. My little lips and a smile on her face, the touch of her hand and this girl's warm embrace. So if you don't want to cry like I do, I'll keep away from a runaround Sue.
Because of a prior commitment, I was unable to be on the hunt on the third day. But Ken decided to go out and check on the bird, make sure he was still working the same field, and see if he could get some stock footage. And as you have just heard, anybody can call a turkey. You do not have to be a competition turkey caller. On the fourth day, I came back and we started trying to hunt him again. But boy, I tell you what, the plant was pumped up so loud you couldn't hardly hear yourself think, and I don't even think the birds even heard me. They didn't pay any attention whatsoever. They came out way on the other side of the field and just made a beeline and didn't even hear us. By the fifth day, I was really starting to get worried. I was scared that maybe we'd put too much pressure on the bird, and this is about the only thing that the cameraman got to film was the back of my head. No show whatsoever, a completely dry run. Sixth day, the only thing that showed up were the jakes. I was really getting scared by this time. But a gut feeling told me to hang in there with him. As I always say, the 3 P's, persistence, patience, and positioning. So persistence did pay off. 7th day coming up. Seventh day, payday. It all paid off. Probably an hour and 45 minutes we worked this bird, and I know a good 25 or 30 minutes of solid purring to get the hens over there close to us, and it all finally came together. And here's what happens.
1 week, sucker. 1 week. Jesus. Woo! Son, you've been a booger bear. Woo! How about that, Dago? That's 1 week on it.
Well, kid, there's number 2 on the Easter.
I'll guarantee you that one was really hard fought for there, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. He was well earned. What did we figure up? We got 7 days on that bird.
6 or 7 days. 6 or 7 days.
days.
We had him on video 4 days, and I think we had 3 no-shows when he didn't show.
Yeah.
The morning it rained all day, we were in here.
And there's the reason why we know, people, that it was always the same bird. 'Cause if you notice in all the footage, that middle fan feather was always broke.
Yeah, we've got the footage that we're going to show on this bird. We'll show the bird different light levels and all, and it's obvious that it's, you know, different days. And we just never could get the bird to come over to us. Had always had so many hens with it. One day, you remember, when I came out, you had to go over on a hunt over in East Mississippi somewhere, or West
Right.
Mississippi.
Right.
And I came out and take by myself, and he got in gun range that day. And if you'd have been with me, we'd have probably got him that day. But other than that particular time, I don't think he ever got in range except this one time.
Never did. This was it. And I tell you, we just had to continue just clucking and purring, and get the hens on over there to us. And finally, he, where the hens go, he's gonna follow.
Well, this morning now, if I remember, if there were either 11 or 12 birds in the field with
Right.
this bird,
Right.
4 or 5 jakes,
4 jakes.
4 jakes and the rest hens.
Right.
And he was just controlling the whole group. Whatever he wanted to do, that's what he did. And the rest of the birds followed him. And he finally succumbed to that. What call was you using this
I was
morning?
using an exciter today, triple reed. It's a cutting type card. When we started out this morning, we did a little cutting to him and did a little flying down with the wing and stuff to make it sound more, you know. More
Yeah, show me.
realistic.
I hadn't seen you do that. I was behind you, of course, and I didn't get to see you work that wing.
Well, it's a buddy of mine, taxidermist Tab Hinton, built that for me. It's kind of fancy with the deer horn and all that on there. But what we do is whenever we're doing like a fly down cackle or something of that sort, we actually bring it down. And it's just like a hen coming down off the roost.
Well, you remember yesterday morning we had hens flying down all over us.
Yep.
I mean, if it hadn't been so overcast and dark, we could have probably got all those hens flying down. But that's sure just exactly what they sounded
Like
like.
I thought one time whenever old Phil was set up over there, one of them was going to go jump in the blind with it.
Yeah. Well, he probably would have welcomed that. He's been kind of lonely up here.
Yep, that's true. Oh,
Well, that's a beautiful bird.
He
It's
is
a
a
beautiful
pretty
bird.
bird.
What do you figure he weigh, about 20
He
pounds?
go about 20 pounds, got about 3/4 of an inch of spurs. I really expected him to have a little bit longer spurs, and I'm gonna say that beard, that's a good 11-inch beard on it.
That's a paintbrush, buddy. You remember I told you from the video the other day, I said that turkey has got a paintbrush on him. That's a good thick beard.
Yep, good.
I believe that's the best beard we got. Maybe not the longest one, but I believe it's as pretty a beard as we harvested.
Well, we're heading to Texas next, right, for the Rio Grande.
Day after tomorrow.
Day after
Day after tomorrow. Departing from Pascagoula on a Ransom's plane. We'll be out there hunting Monday afternoon.
Yes, sir. It's time for the great state of Texas and the Rio Grande. And people, there is only one word that I could possibly think of to describe the turkey hunting in the state of Texas, and that is awesome. Don't you agree, Phil?
100%. The terrain is such that it doesn't look like it's too conducive to turkey hunting, but it's excellent.
It is just unreal the amount of birds that they have there.
If you find a tree, a roost, I mean, it's a roost because there's just not much there, but the turkeys, they have plenty to eat. It's just excellent. It's quite different from our wooded areas down south.
It
but
surely is.
It's fantastic turkey hunting.
In fact, the footage that we're looking at right now was, I think the second or third morning, something like that. And they were probably, I would say, in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 gobblers on this one roost.
Right. Some you can't see, a lot that are still on there, but several of the birds I had noticed, they fly down extremely early out there, which
Very,
is
very early.
difficult at times to hunt them because they get the hens right under the tree. But let's go get that first bird and show the folks what we're talking about.
Let's go get him.
Yeah, about that. Let's get one more set. I don't want to mess with him too much. It's a strange bird. No, I'll do it a couple more times. No more.
about aggravation. We had a good bird working on top of the hill. Deer came down off the hill, picked us out, snorted, started spooking, running off. I tried to do some calling on top of it to cover it up. And lo and behold, back behind us, we heard 3 or 4 birds gobble. Had to crawl out of the blind, reposition myself, and here's what happens.
I can't tell if I'm on bed or not. Take the second bird, you want me to kill him or not? Can you film the second turkey time? Tell me. Can you film? Do you want me to shoot one of them? I think we take all we got. First one, the second one, tell me quick.
Ken's camera was on the wrong bird, but Phil's wasn't. Can you film the second turkey time? Tell me. Can you film? Do you want me to shoot one of them? I think we take all we got. First one, the second one, tell me quick. Oh, there you go. How about that, there you go?
I think you was trying to get in the blind with you, wasn't he?
Yeah, you didn't call them but about 9.
You got about an inch birds on. He's a good bird. Tell you what, I sure appreciate your hospitality. Man, we've had a wonderful time over here. This is the first day, and you know what? All the birds we've gotten so far on film, it's taken us just about the last day to get the best footage, and I think today's going to probably be some of the best footage that we've got. We had a real good backdrop back here with the mesquite trees out here, isn't it?
Well, right here, there's a few mesquite, but most of these are shin oak and hackberry.
Shin oak and hackberry.
Yeah, that's a dead cottonwood over there. See where the lightning hit it over there?
Well, I believe last year whenever I came down here, a little old hen roosted right there on that limb, too.
Yeah.
That's one thing I found out about Texas. If you find a tree, you're going to find the birds.
That's right.
There's so few trees out here that they always go back to basically the same area and roost every night, don't they?
They do that.
Yeah.
They don't have many roosting places, but they'll fool you. Sometimes they'll roost in a little tree that you wouldn't think they'd roost in.
That sounds like my birds at home, the little short pine trees that people don't think they roost in, but they
That's
do.
just like, here, you'd think, well, the turkeys are going to come up the creek.
Yeah.
But they come down the creek.
Well, we were set up, the roosters, sitting back over here. In between those two big hills, there's some big trees back there, a lot of low brush out in through here. And we thought the birds was going to, we said the creek's flowing that way, we thought they were going to come up the creek. And what they did is they circled around behind us, come around, come off this ridge right here, and whenever I hit them with that exciter call and started cutting to them, boy, here they come just boogieing. And I went, oh my goodness. I said, I have got to do something. So I had to get up and crawl our little makeshift blind we made last night and crawl down that little ditch and sit there and get up and ease where I could shoot, and shot him almost in Phil's lap. Lord, he wouldn't probably, I bet 15, 20 yards in front of Phil.
Well, it's amazing. When I saw where you'd kill the turkey and where you were, and you had to shoot through those cattails and everything, I thought, man, I don't know how he made it.
Oh, shoot.
Well, how he did it.
Well, we had to do a little low crawl and get there and reposition ourselves, but that's turkey hunting.
But you know what? We left the big boy out there.
Yeah, well, it's not over with
and
yet.
we'll go get him, all right?
That sounds good to me.
All right, we're going to get that big
Let's
boy.
go. Hey, man,
all right.
I appreciate you too, very much.
I love you.
Let's
I love
go.
you.
Let's go get another one.
All right, let's go.
Lord, it sure is a pretty mount, isn't it, Phil?
That's a beautiful bird.
I think that's one of my most favorite mounts of all.
It's the coloration's a lot different from our easterns, and I couldn't say that it's prettier than our bird, but certainly a lot different with that white band around the tail. It's unusual.
I tell you, a lot of people might not realize, but we actually had a creek between where I was set up at and where you were set up at.
Almost completely different terrain, too, because on your side of the creek, a lot of bulrushes, cattails and such, and it was almost completely clean on my side. Matter of fact, I had to stand up in my blind, so to speak, because there wasn't enough underbrush.
Yeah.
And of course, we had old Gaddafi up on the hill, that tremendous turkey that I thought maybe we were going to get in, but he was kind of sharp. He just sat up there and strutted in a circle, wanting the hens to come to him, you being the hen, of course.
I tell you what, it shocked me though, whenever I was calling and trying to cover up the deer sounds and snorting, when all of a sudden those birds started gobbling back behind us. My God, they came running down the road.
and I had to turn completely around. Of course, I think all of us did. You had to crawl up up to the creek there. And of course, in that case, it made it easier on me when I had to turn, because if I'm sitting on a stool and have to turn around, I have to get up and go around. But I was proud that I was standing up and able to get on the birds. Of course, Ken got on them before I did. Yeah, there were so many of them, he got on the wrong one. But fortunately, I was on this one. Well, actually, I could only see the first two birds and a third bird. Right, he had a better view, and that kind of messed him up. And he did a beautiful pan to get 6 or 7 or 8 turkeys in.
I think it were 9 birds altogether.
Yeah, when he went back to the second bird, it was actually the 4th, I think, is what it was. But we were lucky. We got him on there. It was good footage, I thought.
Well, I guess now it's on to the bow hunt.
To the bow hunt. That one I wasn't so sure about, but the old boy did it. You got him.
I appreciate it. Let's see what we get into with the bow hunt now.
With this gobbler passing less than 10 feet behind our cameraman, only good camouflage and nerves of steel kept us in this hunt. you'll see, don't ever give up. These birds came in, picked us out, putted, left. I continued to call him, and the birds actually went around this bunch of brush and came in from the other side, and we still got a shot.
Y'all get ready, they're gonna come around the other side. Y'all get ready, they're gonna come around the other side. Get ready, they're gonna come around the other side. Get ready. How about them apples? One more time, okay? That's enough.
This Jake came in for a close shot, but I decided not to take him because I was sure a longbeard would come in sooner or later. And boy, I'm glad I waited.
Here he comes. Here they come. Two more behind. I'm gonna take the first one.
Well, you got him.
All right, man.
I thought I was a bow hunter.
I tell you
What, I couldn't believe it. Those birds, you called in 3 longbeards.
I
You
know.
probably didn't see the third one. The third was in my nest over there.
in your nest.
Man, I was handcuffed. That's a beautiful bird.
I tell you, well, that's my first longbeard with a bow. I've killed 3 young times with a bow, but this is my first one. I'm shooting a new piece of equipment today. It's a Martin Firecat, and I tell you what, I sure have been happy with it.
I got one too, just like it.
Just like it?
They're wonderful.
I tell you what, that 65% let off, it does a number. Old Waldo over there in Columbia, Mississippi, he did a number tuning that bow to me, too.
Waldo is good. He's one of the best there is at tuning your bows.
I know it, man.
I've seen him take rank amateurs and have them hitting a ping pong ball at 20 yards in 20 minutes. He's
I
good.
tell you, him and his
Did a
whole...
good job with you, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Him and his whole family got in there with me. I tell you, they
Tell me
did a
about
number.
the bird. I was handcuffed.
Well, he come in, I could hear him out there when he was on the roost, back over here, and they circled us and come around. We had that Jake come in first, and then had a hen come through, and I could see them as they were trying to come up underneath the fence. This old boy tried to go up underneath the fence 3 or 4 different times. He just couldn't find the spot he wanted to go.
Kept tripping over his beard.
He got a good one now, hasn't he? He's got a good one, too.
Right.
But he worked like a charm. I tell you what, that cutting, excited calling, just, oh, man.
Hey, we ought to have some beautiful audio. on that,
We
too.
got to.
They were gobbling their heads off.
We got to.
That's a perfect shot. That is just about. You were shooting for his wing.
Butt of his wing.
And I didn't think you had it.
Oh, shoot. Got about an inch spur on him. What do you call that beard?
Oh.
Looks like about a 10 and a half to me.
I killed it, it'd be 12.
Oh, shoot, man.
He came right.
I tell you what, these release aids, too, man, that is fine.
Yeah.
I've never shot a release aid before this year.
And I tell you the importance of a good blind when you're shooting that
Yeah.
bow. Half the morning when I was trying to film you, I couldn't find you.
I
over
know.
there.
Man, that was just perfect over there.
You talk about now. He worked perfect. He came through the fence. He
Yeah.
came right up this road, just like you. Speaking of road,
Yeah, well, see, old road beds like this, a big old boss gobbler, we got out here and we looked and scouted a little bit and found they'd been strutting, strutting and gobbling, and they love to come to these old road beds like this and strut. You got, especially in Texas here, you got the sandy soil and stuff, so they get out here in dust and everything.
dust, and get to drag those wings in there.
You got it.
If you know what you're looking for, those strutting sites in these sandy roads are easy to find.
Real easy.
What would you tell the folks?
Well, you look, of course, for the turkey tracks where he's going down the road, and on both sides you'll see like little drag marks, just like where you've taken your fingers or taken a twig and dragged on the side of the ground.
Many times.
Oh,
Many
man.
times.
And when you find where they've been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that's his strutting site.
That's great.
That's his strutting site. And that's what we were on right here.
Well, I tell you what, I'm proud. I tell you what, we have got some video and some audio in Texas that'll knock
Oh,
your
man.
eyes out. I believe.
Texas is wonderful. Texas is wonderful. Now, I tell you, the people here have just been fantastic to us. Best hosts we could possibly think of, letting us hunt on the private land,
This is
showing us where the
Darryl
birds were
Moore's
at.
land, right?
Yeah, Darryl Moore.
Right.
Fine gentleman, too, I tell you.
Well, I tell you what, now that we got you two here, it's on to New Mexico.
Let's
isn't
go
it?
to New Mexico. Here
Good
comes
shoot-
Miriam
good
now.
shooting,
Let's
buddy.
go, man.
Don't give a damn. We're from North California and South Alabama and little towns all around this land. We can skin a buck and run a trot line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Country boy can survive. Country folks can
The state of Texas really amazed me with all the different types of wildlife that they had to offer there. Deer, turkey, prairie chickens, jackrabbits, rattlesnakes, all different types of wildlife. So we decided to spend an extra day while we were there and film all the different types of wildlife, enjoy some of the scenery, and see if we could possibly get Ken his first wild turkey. And here's the resulting footage.
Finally got what I was after. Stomping in the feet, boy.
On days when the wind is blowing like this, you'll have to call a lot louder than normal. Pay attention to the wind direction because that's the way the bird will normally approach, as Ken's gobbler did. Still here in Texas, and tried to turn me into the cameraman and you into the hunter. You succeeded being the hunter, but my blasted battery went dead just at the wrong point. I hope that the other man Phil over there, I hope he got your shot on that. That was a doggone good shot too.
Well, I'm proud of this. That's my first turkey.
First, hey man, congratulations, Ken.
He's a fine one too. Look at that fan.
I believe
He's a good heavy bird.
Yeah, he's a good bird. Probably what, 17, 18, 19 pounds, somewhere through there.
We'll wait and we'll get back there. But,
Did you notice his spurs over here? He's got one short spur and one long spur.
Yeah, it looks like he might have damaged that spur.
Yeah, probably in fighting.
But I'm as proud as I can be. I appreciate you bringing him in for me.
Well, maybe now we can get old Phil over here one.
That's right. That's right. Phil's next. We'll
All right,
get him.
Phil.
All right.
We'll turn me back into the cameraman. Maybe this time the battery won't go dead and we'll let you shoot you one.
Let's go get something cold. Segment of your Grand Slam turkey hunt, and I still think it's some of the best turkey hunting video ever captured on film, but it would be quite inappropriate, I think, to even begin this segment without giving proper credit to the Mescalero Apache Indian tribe, their president, Wendell Chino, and his fine staff, because without this last bird, our last two birds, the double Grand Slam wouldn't have been complete. And you know, we were running out of time.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah,
we were. They did a beautiful job too. They really went out on a limb and really helped us. You know, we can't forget our other buddies out there too. Dr. Richard Sherman for putting us up in this camp, letting us stay there, and of course his son. I've called him the human mountain goat, John Sherman, for helping us out and packing equipment in and everything for us.
Tremendous help.
And of course, Mr. Turkey out there, Mr. Noah Southern. We sure do appreciate him for helping us scout and carrying all the stuff with us and for us too.
Sending us in the right direction.
Right. But talk about scouting. I tell you what now, for this Flatlander, and I know you and I both, it just about killed me.
It'll kill you in a hurry.
Country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. 'Cause you can't stomp us out and you can't make us run. 'Cause we're them old boys raised on shotgun. We say grace and we say ma'am. If you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. We're from North California and South Alabama and little towns all around this land. And we can skin a buck and run a trot line, and a country boy can survive.
When you're out scouting, you're apt to see most anything, like this industrious little fella. While scouting, you may accidentally discover a hen's nest. By all means, please don't disturb or return to the nest. You may cause her to abandon it.
Phil, I think it's time we ought to go see what we can get into in New Mexico now.
I think we should wrap it up for them. They're in for an exciting hunt.
Let's go get into it now.
Working down on Bill. They like that goblin. They like that goblin.
Here again, nerves of steel and good camouflage really paid off. My choice of camouflage has always been mossy oak.
Can't you have to move slowly right by it?
Oh, he's a big son of a gun. He's all wet though. Hey, is those feed the children a shotgun or what? Look at the difference.
Yeah, that's a good.
Listen to him, man.
Yeah, I'll listen to him. Little man.
I got it.
Did you get both of them?
Yeah.
We said a double grand slam. What a way to end it. Oh, man. You ever see this one right here?
Well, I tell you what, last night I thought we messed up in the States coming in. I thought you thought we messed up by being here, but I able to guide to Jonathan Adams and Norman Herrera here at the Mescalero Apache Indian Reservation. Don't forget about the Henry Mountain Goat over here too, Mr. Norman. Sure, got that. That's okay. We're kind of excited. Preston has just completed double grand slam here at the reservation, and without the help of these two guys and many of the folks here, I want to tell you, you got one of the most beautiful and well-kept places, and I'm not doing this for the camera. If I can get back here, I'm going to be here. Hey, you won't be by yourself, I'm guaranteeing that. Thanks. And these guys are great, and of course we've got John Sherman over here as our host from Alamogordo. And we had a little trouble. John put us on birds in this place, and we had dogs, people, birds, everything else. Of course, I don't trust him had a sore throat and couldn't call. No, we've had a great time. And we have to. And this is the cap on the bottle right here. Well, we do need to let everybody know, too, that what we did by shooting both the birds, that we did have permission to do that, and it is 100% legal what we did, too. Right. And I thought that was a very appropriate way to end what we call the double grand slam, too. Right. A double right there. And that's a double. You got anything you need to tell us, Norman?
Well, I'm glad we could help you out. You know, it was kind of making take there for a while.
Yeah.
Kind of last minute stuff, and I'm glad we were able to.
You guys bailed us out, and I want to thank you again. If we can, of course, what we've seen here and heard mostly on audio, the birds is late in the season, and the birds are not, the travelers not real interested in hens. No, they're not. The hens already gone to the north. And it was kind of tough getting in, which made it way more exciting. And yeah, it did.
Just like that one where they come behind us here before they took us to
really bad. He just, he wasn't that interested. I tell you what, I'd like to mention too about the beautiful resort you got here and all the facilities. What's the name?
Mountain Guides.
Mountain Guides. It's just about anything that people would want to do. They've got it here. The people are beautiful. They're wonderful. They've gone out of their way for us.
Fantastic elk hunting, I believe their success ratio is 98%. Is that correct? That's correct. I think the only reason why you haven't got 100% is because a few people want to... Well, we've got a lot of friends that our guys that come back hunt with us every year for like the last 5 or 6 years. I've got mule deer, pronghorn, bear, the turkey. Turkey. Yeah. I mean, if y'all want a wonderful place to come to, y'all come here. Good deal. Well, hope to see you guys real soon again. We'll be back. We appreciate you coming out here. Everything and I want to thank y'all for We had a bunch of great laughs and we met a bunch of wonderful people. On behalf of Rankin Productions and Preston Pittman Game Calls Incorporated, we wish to thank everyone who helped us on this project, and we look forward to working with all of you again. To the viewers, we hope that this has been informative and entertaining. We look forward to producing another video for you in the very near future. Until then, these few messages from Preston.
Above all, be careful whenever you're hunting. For those of you who might be interested in some of our complete line of game calls, whenever we run the credits, there'll be a complete list of address and phone numbers. Be careful again.
I live back in the woods, you see. My woman and the kids and the dogs and me. I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I can plow a field all day long. I can catch catfish from dusk till dawn. Make our own whiskey and our own smoke too. Ain't too many things these old boys can't do. We grow good old tomatoes and homemade wine, and country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run. Those when them old boys raised on shotguns. We say grace and we say ma'am. If you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. We came from the West Virginia coal mines and the Rocky Mountains and the western skies. We can skin a buck, we can run a trot line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I had a good friend in New York City. He never called me by my name, just Hillbilly. My grandpa taught me how to live off the land, and his taught him to be a businessman. He used to send me pictures of the Broadway nights, and I'd send him some homemade wine. But he was killed by a man with a switchblade knife. For $43, my friend lost his life. I'd love to spit some beach nut in that dude's eyes and shoot him with my old 45, cause a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Cause you can't stop us out and you can't make us run, cause we're them old boys raised on shotgun. We say grace, we say ma'am, if you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. We're from North California and South Alabama and little towns all around this land. And we can skin a buck and run a trot line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive.